Cheers to
Partnership.
healthy partnership and not letting other people dictate how you should live your life. Something like that. Close enough. Cheers. Let's begin.
I love it.
You go ahead, begin.
Okay. So I'm hearing so many things about everyone's codependent. Codependent is toxic. You're codependent because it's unhealthy to not have basically your girls' nights and all of that. It's just like, one of those buzzwords that are going around of like codependency. And everyone's like, I've been codependent. And they could be codependent on a friend, a mom, or a lot of times it's like a romantic relationship. But everyone's throwing it around that like it's the most unhealthy thing. You need to transmute it and not be codependent. And
Thank you, Captain.
every time I hear the description, it's just like, okay, based on your description, I'm codependent too, but I don't see the wrongness.
So you're saying it's portrayed as a negative thing if you are in this made up classification for what is actually not. It's not. I don't know. This is a very. We talked about this a little bit. We discussed what topic we were going to be chatting about. This is a very simple answer to this one, and it just goes, "Fuck you, mind your business." This is the way I'm choosing to live my life. But since that's not what we're here for, is just to give you a quick little two-word answer.
Money off of selling books, doing podcasts, telling everyone that like buy my book because you're codependent and you're unhealthy because you of these like X, Y, and Z that are normal, very healthy relationship things that I think.
Well, the whole deal it circles back to each their own. It always circles back to that. If you are one of those people that you like your boys' trip every year and you guys go to Vegas or you go to San Diego or you go to New York or you go to Canada and party it up or whatever it is, you and your set group of friends that you were in a frat with 10 years ago or whatever, and you have your thing and you like doing that, you enjoy it, I will never tell you not to do that. If you really enjoy doing that, go for it. And you have a wife, girlfriend, otherwise that is on board with that, then whatever, keep doing your thing. But for the people out there that are in a relationship that is similar to mine in the aspect of I don't enjoy those things. I don't enjoy going and spending time with friends like that. I've done it and it's just not me. It's not who I am. I would rather go do maybe the same identical thing, but with you. Like, I don't need to go with my group of friends. I don't need to be like free from this woman because I can't have fun if she's there. And that's me. If you're not like that, that's fine. But what I don't know, what I despise about the idea of like telling people that it's unhealthy and it's a bad thing is I don't overstep and tell you that I think you're nuts and you're insane because you and your boys want to go to Baton Rouge for the weekend or you want to go to New Orleans and get fucked up. Do it. I don't care. It's not in my wheelhouse. It's not in my circle of things. I don't care.
Have friends that will like shit on you basically for like, come on, like why would you not come? But like if you're in a healthy relationship, I think that is normal to not want to go on a girl's trip, not want to go on a boy's trip.
Yeah.
But that's now viewed as like basically controlling.
Yeah, it's like you have Stockholm syndrome
Yeah.
if you don't partake in these things. It's like I don't know. I'm happy with the way things are. I would rather spend most of my time here at home doing stuff like this. Maybe you and me go for a weekend trip somewhere. I don't need to like have that like spice of fun where it's like I'm looking forward to this boys trip or I'm looking forward to Friday night we're all going to go to Topgolf and get hammered. It's like why can I not do the same thing but just bring my wife with me? Why do we have to why does it have to be just me and a bunch of dudes? Like there's nothing wrong with that, but why am I now being outcasted because I'm the weird one that doesn't want to take part? I think it's bullshit. I think it's a ridiculous narrative to just paint someone as being codependent and it's a bad thing and it's a negative thing. It has nothing to do with codependence because actual codependence, this is codependence. This right here, if people, this is one thing because I'm going to start going on a rant right now. This is one thing that frustrates me about today's culture is among many things is they throw words and terms out there that like they slightly apply to what is going on. It's like the idea of just throwing out that's sexist, that's racist, that's hateful. It's like no, it's not. There's an element of like that's not cool, that's not right. You shouldn't say that, you shouldn't do that. But actual hatefulness, actual sexism, stuff like that is like they're like you if you actually see it, you're like, yeah, that's bad, dude. That guy needs to be locked up. That's terrible. That's a horrible thing. But they throw this around because someone won't let them wear this ridiculous outfit somewhere. And it's like, oh, well, you don't like me because I'm this gender or I'm this race or I'm this. They throw these blanketed terms around, which is just absurd. It's like, no, you're just drawing these conclusions out of like you're taking it out of context, basically. Codependence is a dog here. We love him. He's great. He's here until whenever he decides he wants to go somewhere else. But he doesn't have the facilities to go and hunt down a rabbit and kill it. He doesn't have the ability to do that. He doesn't. It's just physically not possible for him, whether it was the people who bred him to be this way or he chose one day he didn't want to do that anymore.
We should do a story of telling about how Captain, he was not, well, we don't know if he was a bred dog, but he was found on the streets.
Yeah, he was homeless for a while. But regardless of that, we're trying to stay on topic here. But codependent is exactly that. He would die of starvation if we up and left him here in the house for a week. We decide, hey, we want to go on vacation and left both the dogs here. Between them and the chickens, they would all be dead within 7 days. That's codependence. You're depending on another being to supplement things that you can't do for yourself. That's codependence.
You know what kills me, though, about this term that's being thrown around? Most of the time that I'm seeing this discussed, like with the podcast I'm listening to and the narrative that's going on, I guess, on social media, almost all of the time, there these people saying like, oh, I'm really struggling, I'm codependent on my partner, and they don't even live together. Like, how are you codependent if you don't even live?
You don't even live under the same roof as them, and you're codependent.
You don't rely on them for a home. You don't rely on.
You just rely on them for acceptance of like because you're not happy with who you are, and being with them is there's someone that boosts your confidence.
But I feel like it's that of like.
That's not codependence. That's just you need to get your shit together and feel more confident about yourself.
Afraid to leave a relationship that they know like is not everything that they feel amazing about, so they're like
fair enough
coming up with these like identities to be like, oh, but I have this.
It's like all the people on TikTok that are like self-diagnosing autism. They're like going on. It's like, I thought I used to be like socially awkward and I just didn't like to be around big crowds of people or whatever. And they're like, no, it just turns out I'm just mildly autistic. It's like, no, that's not the case at all. You just don't like being around large crowds of people. It's not in like human nature. It's not in human nature to be around 10,000 people at the same time for an extended period of time, especially entertaining them.
I think like because everything has become so unnatural in society now, obviously there's problems. And then when people are like, I'm so shocked that I don't like to sit in a classroom of 30 people that I don't like. Everyone smells, and I don't want to learn this.
I must be autistic.
Something's wrong.
I must have Asperger's.
Because I can't sit here for 8 hours straight. Like that's like an unnatural environment.
What that is.
There's nothing wrong with you that like you're not thriving in that environment.
And if nothing else, throwing around these just wild terms, like drawing these conclusions, it's an insult to people who actually do have, let's just say, autism, or someone who actually is codependent. A creature that's codependent, a child, your 6-year-old child is codependent. They would be up a creek without a paddle without you. That's just is what it is. That's codependence. But because you don't feel confident in yourself when your boyfriend or girlfriend isn't there, that doesn't mean
That's a
you're
self.
that's a you problem.
Yeah.
That's not a
But this is what the term codependency and like all the books being written and all the narratives around it, it's now blaming the partner as the partner is controlling, the partner is at fault instead of you.
instead of
Don't have
dealing
the
with problems
confidence
yourself, you blame someone
to
else.
build a relationship with yourself and like realize like maybe this isn't the person I want to be with and I am too scared to be on my own.
Yeah.
And like that's a personal journey that you need to go on, and they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to go on it, so they're just like,
Well, because
I'm
that's how
codependent,
everything is
so I'm going to read
nowadays.
this book and I'm going to listen to this, and it's like I finally feel seen because someone's telling me that
Someone's telling me
I'm
what I
not
want
the
to hear. I'm
problem.
not the problem. No, you are the problem. You, every single problem. I don't care. People can argue about this till the end of time. Every single problem that you face, every issue that you deal with, whether it's physical, mental, it's in relationships, it's with some like situational stuff going on in your day-to-day life, that was all stuff that you have control over. That's all stuff that you still have a say in. Even if you got a flat tire in your car and you want to sit here and say, oh, this piece of shit Honda, it sucks. It's like, no, you're the one who hasn't changed your tires for 4 years and you do burnouts with your friends on the weekends. Then the tire blows out on your way to work in the morning when you're tired and hungover and stressed out and you want to blame the car for it. No, that's you. You did that. So if you're in a spot where, you're not confident to stand on your own 2 feet, the last thing you should be doing is blaming this partner for like, you don't see me enough or, you don't do this or you don't do that. So, now because of you, I'm now codependent. It's like, no, that's not the case at all.
Well, I think we should talk about like the real narrative of why I even brought this up because
Yeah, because
obviously,
I'm getting off
no,
off track a little bit.
it's all great. I'm just saying like the reason I'm even discussing this is not to tell everyone like we shouldn't be talking about this. It's because I was hearing this so often, and it does speak to me in a way of like I'm meant to feel bad because I changed my entire life, and when I met you, my entire life changed, and for me, it was in the best way. But from an outsider looking in, based on what they're saying, is like that is unhealthy.
Well, you uprooted everything. You went like this whole friend group were out, where eventually, very shortly after, it's like you're talking about moving cities completely away from everybody. You've already cut off half the people, and you're planning on cutting off the rest. And you stopped going to these same places. You stopped doing what you normally did on the weekends. Even when I first came around, we stopped partaking in all the things that we would normally do, wasting a weekend away partying, doing whatever. We slowly stepped out of that, and we got to a point where, we're cutting ourselves off from people that are just, you're not beneficial to my life. Every time I'm around you, it's nothing but we talk about the past, and all I'm reminded of is the past, which are not pleasant memories all the time, or it's just like staying in the same mindset of like just settling for where you're at and just accepting this is where we're at. We have these same friends forever. It's like, no, I want better for my life. Like this is one thing I can never get out of my mind. I was not the first person to say this, but something that I always think about is it's fascinating to me how like from the time you're born until you're, let's just say till you get married, it's pretend you get married at 25 ballpark like we did. Some people they wait forever, some people they don't, some people get married at 18 because they're nuts. But whatever. Some people would call me nuts, but is what it is.
It's funny because you look at that way, but so many people look at us this way because they're like, you're so young.
Yeah. But the thing is, I look at it, your life from 0 to 25, right? You're learning a new language. You're learning math. You're learning how to talk to people. You're meeting friends. You're meeting boyfriends, girlfriends. You're learning how to deal with your parents and society. You're getting a job. You're moving out of your parents' house. You're getting a car. You're figuring out your career. You're just constantly in this push forward of like growing and bettering yourself and doing all that. And then for some reason, people get to a point where, they get married or they graduate college, and it's just like, now we can just chill out. And then they just stay in the same spot. They buy a house, they get married, they maybe have their couple kids, but they stay in the same house until the day they die. And their kids go to the same high school and the same college they did. And they have the same friends they've had since they were in third grade. And everything is the same. And I'm not sitting here like bashing those people, but it's so crazy that why are you yawning in my face? We all know that your breath is not ideal. Anyways, I just think it's fascinating how like there's such a drive to like learn and be better and strive for more and change your surroundings and change your friend groups because you constantly want better. You want to do better. You want to feel better. You want to look better. You want to be more financially successful, whatever it is. And then you hit a certain point where it's just like, oh, no, what do you mean? We figured it out. We made it through college. We found our career. Now we're just all going to hang out here. This is what we're going to do. And if you're someone who's willing to like challenge that and say, you know what? I know I'm 24, I'm 25, but I've found a new opportunity that I want to move out of this place. I want to get away from these people because they're not bad people. I don't hate them or anything, but it's just like I want more. I want to better myself. I want to push for more. And I don't understand how someone like that, someone could draw the conclusion that I think it's like a defensive mechanism to like throw like, oh, you have to make these changes because you're codependent because it's you can't stand on your own 2 feet
Well,
without
people
them. Like,
look at it of like
no, I'm just challenging your narrative of we have to settle right here.
well, it's like the classic the girl gets a boyfriend and then ditches all her friends, but then they break up like a month later and then she comes crying back. And like I get that that's annoying, but that's like not the case. And obviously
No,
that could have been the case
for sure.
if we broke up or something, but at the same time like I didn't leave my friends because I met you. I ditched all my friends because it no longer fit the lifestyle that I wanted. I no longer felt
Well, yeah,
like I was the person that I want to be when I'm surrounded by the environments that I was in. And
yeah.
they weren't willing to be different people too. Like
Well,
I
this
can't
is
ask other people to be
what
different
also
because
ties
I
into
want to be
it.
different.
What also ties into it is like while all this was going on, we still lived 2 hours apart. It wasn't like you just uprooted one day and left. It was like you stayed in the same area 2 miles down the street from them,
For 2
but you
years.
worked and they never made an effort. They never, and I'm not trying to call them out and say they're
No,
piece of shit people.
I'm
They're
just
nice. They're
saying
great people.
the narrative is easily played that.
And we're also
she
talking about
met
kids that are like
a guy,
young.
and then he was controlling. He said she couldn't be friends with all these people, so she ditched all her friends, and now she's like this sad wife that's cooped up in the house alone, codependent on him to pay for her
Yeah.
existence. And if he left tomorrow and
You'd
went
be
to be
screwed.
with strippers or something, I would be on the streets
Yeah.
with my Captain B. Like,
Yeah.
that's like the narrative, though, and that's just like not the reality. The reality is what I think people don't want to admit. If you have a relationship and you do not feel the way that I felt, where it's like, I want to be a better person. I want to really live my life.
Everybody.
And also, I don't need to escape from my partner ever. Like, I thought, like, I was like afraid to speak on this in the beginning because I was like,
Yeah.
maybe I'll change my mind with time. But like, we are married and we've been together for like years, and I still don't have any desire to have a girls' night away from you. Like, I
Yeah.
have a problem with friends that can't hang out with you and I together. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to see me, like, why can't we all go on a hike together?
Yeah.
Why do you have to have me go and do a girls' night away?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to.
No, I have friends that are the exact same way. I'm not gonna start dropping names right now, like, but like in a good way, where like they want to hang out and like, oh yeah, sure, I'll bring my girlfriend along too. And it's like, there's no reason not to. Like, why do we have to go? Like, are we gonna say something or do something that like we just like they can't be around it? Are they harsh in the vibe? Well, maybe you shouldn't be with her in the first place. If you're so concerned that your wife or your girlfriend or whatever is going to ruin the vibe and she's not going to let you do this. Well, first of all, you should question what you're doing. That might be problem number
Question
one.
who you're with if they don't like
Yeah.
fit so perfectly into your
Or if you're with
life.
somebody that, you're so worried that, they're just going to sit here and think we're dumb because we're doing this or whatever. It's like, well, maybe you should figure out what's going on between you two before you start trying to socialize and
Yeah.
make a public, entrance. And maybe she will harsh the vibe. Maybe she won't. Maybe you're the problem. Maybe you're just trying to get away with stuff. And at that point, it's like, well, then that's a you problem. It's like all this just boils down to people not being able to take accountability for their actions. And so they want to like just spew just negativity on other people because it's like, I'm not happy where I'm at. I can't foresee myself ever being in your shoes. So I'm just going to automatically just assume that you're codependent. You're in a bad spot. You have Stockholm syndrome. He's doing this. He's abusing you verbally and mentally. You're trapped. You can't get out. It's like, just because you do not have the bandwidth to see a positive future for yourself doesn't mean that when something good happens for someone that was close to you at one point and they move on and start making changes and doing what they actually want for a change, that they are now in a worse spot and you need to go save them, get the life vest, let's go rescue them. It's like, no, maybe some shit's going on for them that's better than your
really
little
good.
fucking pea brain can understand.
Well,
Like, maybe that's the case. Maybe think about that.
This is like a different topic that we've talked about before, but the idea that honestly, until I met you, my confidence was pretty low, and I allowed people to treat me like the way that I witnessed most women in my life being treated, basically walked all over.
Yeah.
So I had friendships that like anything they wanted to do, sure, I'll go. Sure,
Yeah.
so I was just kind of at their whim, which is so convenient for them. Like,
You want to talk about brainwashing? That's
but I would just go along with their narrative because, like, I never had a boyfriend. I never had stuff going on. So if, like, you want me to run and drive you somewhere because you and your boyfriend are fighting, like, sure, I'll pick you up. Like, it was just like I was always at their whim. And then the second I had something good going for me, I didn't.
their fall guy left, and they were like,
But I
shit.
didn't have the time to be at their whim because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, you want me to do this with you, but I have plans with someone else
Yeah.
who is treating me really well that I'm actually, I prefer to
It's never
do the
been
thing.
perfect, but
I prefer to
yeah.
do the thing that I want to do instead of like just, I have nothing else going on in life. And like
Yeah.
that little stepping stone of like when I met you, I started to make those personal changes of like, wow, I maybe should focus on what do I want to do in life. And it's just so funny because ever since we've been together, I've never felt more myself, never felt more free, never
Yeah.
felt more inspired to like live.
I told her to say that.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds fake. But I honestly feel sad that this narrative is going around where people feel like
It's not even specifically about us. It's just like in general,
but
like it's a
people who have
common
really
thing.
healthy partnerships that they enjoy spending time with their partner all the time.
You got an audience sitting in the background waiting for your downfall. They're just like,
But people don't think that's real. They think like every relationship
might not be real for you if you keep this same kind of mindset.
But because that is the narrative, people are settling with people that are not right for them. Like they don't feel the way they want to feel with them. They don't feel like the 100% support. They feel like they still need to like question and snoop through their phone or like there's like things going on like that. And they're just like, oh, but everybody feels that way, and it's good because I'm still an independent
that's not true
person,
at all.
and like I'm not too tied.
Is
to
it more
him.
common than it should be? Yeah. Is it normal? No, I don't think it's normal at all.
I think it's like maybe the fear of
The fear of having to look in the mirror. That's what it is, and deal with your own fucking problems. A lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people are terrified of that. There's stuff they've bottled up. We've all been guilty of it. They don't, and like having another person that's around you keeps you distracted enough or keeps you focused on other things. You can, if nothing else, you can focus on them. You can deny whatever it is that's gone on in your brain that you've pushed down for so long or for a short period of time. And instead of like dealing with that or having the courage to face that head on, it's like, no, you always look around for someone else to just put your problems onto. I'm trying to remember exactly how it goes, but it's like the idea of like, you want to like get attention off yourself if you're doing bad. And it's like, you always want to, like, if you're caught up in a lie. You want to try to trip someone else up and make them look. If you're the worst guy at work, you're going to want to make someone else look bad. So then it's like, well, he's worse than me. The eyes are off of me. It's like that. It's like people that are not happy in their own lives are often the ones that are making outrageous statements like that, or are assuming the worst of people they consider friends. And there's like, it's because, no, because you have your own problems and you're spewing your fears onto me.
Yeah. I just think now it's looked down upon to have a relationship that you are so happy with that you don't feel the need to run around town to
Yeah.
find your like feeling of being alive elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's looked down upon that you don't need to do that. And I
Yeah.
think that's backwards.
It is. It's very backwards. I mean, it's simple as that. I mean, I've dealt with it on my end too. And once again, I'm not going to start dropping any names, but at a pretty much similar time period when you were dealing with that, there was also someone else that a friend of mine that I had been friends with for a long time, and I still think highly of him, and he's not a bad person or anything, but he's got his life kind of carved out how he wants it, and I played a role in that. I was a friend, and I just at his beckoning call. It was like every time there's a party, every time there's this, every time there's that, it's like whatever you need, dude. Whatever you need. I'm there for everything. And it turned into like I didn't even realize like now looking back, like I was the laughing stock. We'd go out in the bars and whatnot, and he'd be there with his girlfriend, and I was single at the time, and it would almost be like it was entertainment for them to like go walk up and talk to her, go do this, and they would just pay for my drinks, get me hammered, and of course my confidence level goes from where I'm at now to like through the roof, and I'm just out there making a fool out of myself constantly. And now thinking back, I'm like, they were probably just sitting back there dying laughing at me.
Yeah.
And that's all they
I
were
had
doing.
the
And it,
same thing. I was the same role in my
yeah.
friendships. And for us to
And if it worked out, they would
yeah.
act like they were supportive and like,
Yeah.
oh, that's cool, that's great. And then there was also like an aspect of like, I did that for you. And it was like they would like instill in you like just like this whole like you can't support yourself. Like you want to talk about codependence?
That's what I
It
was
was like a
about to say.
subconscious codependence where it's like I do to an extent rely on like the affirmation from them to be like, okay, well he said that I'm a good dude and he's a lot older than me and he said I'm doing well in life and he's confident that I'm going to be successful at whatever this, that, the other thing. It's like, well, because he said that, now I know. And it's like I never had that moment where I looked in the mirror and was like, yo, dude, how do you feel about yourself? How do you actually 100% the direction your life is going? Are you happy with this? Is this what you want? And about the same time frame, it was when I met you that like we kind of started doing our own thing and like being happy on our own and like choosing our own weekend plans, not just like waiting for someone to call us and be like, you guys are going to come here, you're going to do this. Like just taking a stand and be like, no, we want to hang out all day doing nothing but watching movies. That's all we want to do. Just us two. Someone could call me, fuck you, hang up. That's it. I'm not dealing with anything else. And those same people that were like, I don't even know if they were doing it intentionally or not, but like that were treating you or me like that certain way. Those were the same people that flipped the script and were like, "Oh, you can't hang out with us because she's telling you that I'm a bad person. Oh, she said that. Oh, she doesn't like me, huh? That's what it is. She doesn't like me." And like they try to like trick you into like thinking that
Well, they tried to turn
maybe
you against me, and my friends tried to turn me against you.
yeah, and it was like, no, you guys were the ones. You're the bad guy the whole time. You were taking advantage of this situation the whole time, and now because it's worked against you, now all of a sudden I'm the bad guy, and you want to blame someone else, and this and that. It's like when these terms get thrown around, this like codependence, this and that. I don't really think it's coming from a place of like you're genuinely concerned about a friend that is in a situation where a Stockholm syndrome type deal is popping up. I don't think it's coming from that place at all. There might be one out of 1,000 that's genuine, but for the most part, in my experience and your experience, it was almost exactly identical. Of like they were the two people that like flipped the script and started accusing, saying that like you're being controlling or I'm being controlling. They were the ones looking back. Were like, no, the entire time I knew you, the 10 years that I knew you, whatever it was, you were the one being the controlling one. You were telling me where to sit, sleep, eat, shit, drink, do whatever. You were telling me everything.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I went against you and decided to think for my own, I didn't even do it in a negative way. I was just like, no, I can't make it anymore. No, we have plans. It wasn't like I said, fuck you,
Yeah.
we can't hang out anymore, you're a bad person. It was just like, nah, sorry, I can't make it tonight or tomorrow night or the next night, or like finally being like, oh, I live an hour away from you. I'm not going to keep making this trip. Like whatever it was, it like got flipped to where it's just like, oh, she's controlling you, huh? Like, oh, you get a girlfriend now, you think you're better than me, or it's like, dude, that's not the case at all, bro. Like,
Yeah.
what do you
Well,
mean? I'm thinking for myself. I'm being
yeah.
confident in my own actions and decisions for once in my life, and now you're turning it on me. So I think
It's wild that we had like the same experience at the same
two
time.
drastically
but
different types of
we
people,
didn't talk
everything.
about this while this was happening on both separate sides, though.
And it was pretty much going on at
At
about the same time.
yeah.
And I still like both people. They're both nice people and I wish them the best. It's just like I can't hang around them because their personality types, they will drag you back into.
It just comes down to they were friends with a version of me that no longer exists, and they're not happy with the version
That's exactly it.
that I am happy at. I didn't like the version of me that was friends with them. That's
Yeah.
why
You might have liked me back then. I didn't like me back then,
I
though.
did not like me
Yeah.
at all, and I am now in a place where I don't feel that way, and I'm like happy with myself.
Yeah.
And that is just like, I guess, the biggest pill to swallow, that these people that you surround yourself with the most, they aren't happy when you're happy. And I think that's like the thing that I learned with my friendships going forward, that I want to make sure that like I'm celebrating them and happy for them, whether it's what I think they should
Yeah.
do with their life or not.
Yeah. And it's like I don't know, I like bringing up old statements that people already know, but there's like certain old adages that like they still apply very much so today. And one of those being, you can't love anybody else till you love yourself first. You can't genuinely, can you on paper, tell this girl, boy, whatever that you love them, but like you can't genuinely, selflessly care about someone and love someone until you're happy with the person that you are.
But I think
And
that's
like,
also like, sounds very cruel, so hopefully people don't think I'm a bad person, but if everyone's being honest, like this is just, I think everyone feels this. Because I didn't care about myself at all, it wasn't hard for me to cut off the friends once I did. Because
Yeah.
I didn't have a true, like, of course I have love for them, but I
Yeah.
didn't have this like loving relationship with friends.
it wasn't
like loving
it wasn't a
friendship.
mutual.
It felt very one-sided, and it
Yeah.
felt very timeline of like, I'm in this place in life, I want to distract myself, so like I want to drink, go out, who's the people that have the best invites, it's like, that sounds horrific,
Who can
but
get me attention and around people and
Yeah.
have fun, and yeah, and it's just empty. It's empty.
completely.
And we've all been there. It's been fun. There's been times you can look back because your brain always likes to think of the most positive moments, but overall, like I don't know. It's just like you have to snap out of that. So I think the message that I want to like share with people is just like you have to focus on like what makes you happy, like genuinely, like when you're by yourself, not when you're 20 feet away from in the bathroom, just sitting there. It's like, no, when you're by yourself for a full day, like have those conversations. Be like, dude, like what do I want out of life? Like, do I want to be around these people that constantly kind of sometimes put me in situations where I end up somewhere where I'm uncomfortable, or end up around people, or things happen to me, or I end up doing things that they don't feel like there's something that I should be doing. Like if I had full control over what I did on a Saturday night when maybe I did get intoxicated, I probably wouldn't have done that. But it was like because I was around people that either let it happen or encouraged it or just stood there and patted me on the back while whatever. It's like, do I want to be that person? That's not me. That's who I am when different influences come in. And I don't know. I just think that a lot of people need to just be honest with themselves. And like, that's why I said in the beginning, my answer to anyone who says like, oh, you're codependent, fuck you. That's it. Like, I have no reason to explain to those people like, no, actually, man, here, check this out. It's like, I'm saying this for someone who was in the position that either you or me was in. It's you do what makes you happy. Unless you're killing people or doing something vicious like that. But like when it comes to like relationships and what you want to do with your day, the activities you want to take part in, your hobbies, do what makes you happy. Don't wait till all your friends around you are like, yeah, it would be cool if we all bought RC airplanes and went and flew them around the park. No, like you shouldn't have to wait for other people to get on board for it to be okay and for it to be cool. Like that same idea carries through into like relationships. If it makes you happy because you have a new girlfriend and all you want to do is spend time with her and your friends, you don't tell your friends to eat a dick and leave, but you're just like, no, I'm sorry, Jimmy, I just really don't want to hang out with you. I want to hang out with Sarah over here, and you go do that, and that's fine. And if Jimmy starts being negative, that's not a real friend.
But
That's not a supportive friend.
is because no one, I completely agree with you, and that's why the friends I have left are very low maintenance because they do not give me any type of grief. The fact that I rarely see them because I see them in a way that like fills both of our cups, but I don't need to like go and have like our Friday night girls night. Like I don't need to have a friend group at all. And like at this stage in life, and that could totally change as like life changes, but
yeah, of course.
I've really like spent time with myself asking myself this question, like I feel completely fulfilled. I feel like nothing is missing in my life as far as relationships because
at this point,
of what I get from you and I. Like
yeah.
But
and the few people that are still around.
Yeah, but everyone that
the
I've
few people that we
heard,
choose to be around.
Everyone I've ever heard speak on this is like it's such a negative to ditch all your friends the second you get a partner because that's like breeding grounds for like that partner could be toxic, abusive, and then when you finally get the courage to leave them, you're going to have no one left.
And then unfortunately, that's my response to that would be like, that's part of life, dude.
And that's my thing is like
it's like
if that's like the reality.
That's like telling people not to take the jump. Don't take the jump. Don't risk it. Don't jump because it might backfire. You might break your leg. It's like, or you might not.
That's my like actual reality of like if the most devastating. I think this is like the truth of people don't want to find someone that they love so deeply that they like can't fathom living without. Which I feel that way because that goes against like the reality of life. Like if you'd, this is like morbid, but if you died randomly,
sounds possible.
It is gonna like be quite an insane heartbreak, probably more than what it would be for someone who has a huge community around them rallying to be like, we're here for you, we'll hold you, we'll lift you up. I would you'd completely alone in this house.
Yeah.
And that is something I'm okay with because that's like the risk it takes to like live the life that I want. And like I know myself and trust myself that I can find people in the right time, in the right way.
I think it's insane to like tell people like not to go for that and cut off like people like your friends or whatever because you found a new partner. That's just like, I mean, life is risk, man. Sometimes like life, I mean, I'm not the first person to say this. It's been said many times. Life is all risk. It's 100% risk. It's so risky. We're not getting it out of this alive. We're not making it out alive. Why would you be one of these people that's just like, oh, well, I'm worried I'm going to lose 6 of my friends. If it's like, who cares? Tim, Joe, Steve, Billy, Bob, and Jeff can go fuck themselves. Who cares? Move on. Do what you like. Do what makes you happy. Because all you do is you spend your weekends with these 5, 6 guys, whatever. What do? You sit in the garage, you drink, you hang out. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like there's that alternative, or we take this risk and we move to a different state to go to college, or I take this new work opportunity. It's all the same. I got a new girlfriend. I got a new boyfriend. I'm changing jobs. I'm whatever it is. It's all exactly the same. It all might work. It might not work out, or it might work out. You might lose your job right after you start it. You might move somewhere and your house burns down. Like it's a risk in everything. You might buy a car and then it blows up the next day in your garage. That's life. It's risky.
You have to, like,
it's because it's threatening to these people that are used to controlling your narrative. It's threatening to them and their like stronghold on your life when you finally take the reins and you're like, okay, no, actually, I want to hang out with this one person exclusively because I like them and I care about them. I like the way that I make them feel. I like the way they make me feel. And we have a good time together. We have genuine conversations and we have fun. And the few people that we still do get to socialize with are good people and we feel good hanging out with them. And I don't need to go have these fake facade friendships and have dinner with my homies every Thursday night. I don't need that.
Yeah.
And if you do, there's nothing wrong with that. But to the people who want to step on my toes and say that I'm insane, I'm codependent, I'm this, I'm that, fuck you. That's my response to that.
Would you then say you were codependent on some of your friends?
I was more codependent on those people
You were.
than I ever was when
Because
you and me met. It was
you
like
could
you and me
be-
went, and it was like the chains just fell right off. It's like, wow, look at it, the handcuffs are gone.
You don't feel like the statement, the old ball and chain?
No, it was before it was the ball and chain. Before you, it was the ball. Because, like, I had to dress a certain way, and we had to act a certain way, and we had to, like, we had to socialize with certain people that, and like, yo, dude, you got to make me look good out there, dude. It was always that. I don't feel that with you at all. And if you do feel that way with the relationship, maybe you should get the fuck out.
Well,
Maybe
you
that's a
should feel,
problem.
like, so, like, I feel free and independent.
Yes,
with
that's how it should be.
Within the relationship. But I think, like, a real partnership is like, yeah, we do everything together, and we never really make plans without each other.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't want to.
There's
And
no
I
reason
think-
for me to go if you can't go too. Like,
Yeah. And that's, like,
Why?
something that I've kind of made, like, reality, that if there's ever plans that come up, depending on what it is, but 99.9% of the time, if, like, you're not invited to, I probably am not going. I don't think I have gone in the past couple of years.
not recently, no.
Yeah. And that's just me.
Yeah.
And that's not because I'm so dependent on you that I'm afraid, oh, he's going to get jealous. He's going to yell at me when I get home. Like, it's because I genuinely don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't.
There's no fun in it if
to
you
spend
aren't
my
there.
free time doing something without you, because I
Yeah.
would miss you. And that's the thing. It's like we just spoke with a couple that I am obsessed with. They've been married over a decade, obsessed, and she was talking about how people think they're weird because they're, like, older, and she hates being away from him, and, like, they'll call each other 6 times
Oh,
a
yeah.
day.
I was trying to think. Yeah, okay,
They'll
yeah.
call each other 6 times a day, and, like, they'll still be like, yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah.
What's that? And it's like they just will chat, and, like, people think that's weird, and I don't. Like, if you
But-
don't have that, like, that's, like, sad to me. If your
But-
partner doesn't miss you when
If
you're
you
gone.
have a best friend that you've known since high school and you guys talk 6 times a day and you guys are everything you do is together,
And it's, like,
that's
good,
normal.
Good
That's-
for you
that's
because
normal.
you're, like, maintaining your
You
friendship.
got a solid friend, dude. And I'm not saying it's bad to have a good friend. I'm not saying that at all. But it's like, how's that okay? But this,
When it's your husband or wife, then it's, like, unhealthy. 'Cause
How
you
does
can't
that make any sense
you
at
can't
all?
even have one weekend without him, without calling 10 times. Like, what's wrong with you? It's like you're clearly dependent.
At
you
that
clearly
point,
are, like, reliant on
this
him.
is when the analytical part of my brain is just like, my response to you is, it's like, it's simple. It's mind your own business. If you want to do that and that makes you happy, then do it. And if you want to be one of these people that has a posse of friends that follow you everywhere, and every day is, in my opinion, you're just sitting there putting on a facade and dancing around trying to entertain, then go ahead, do it. I don't care. That's you. But don't step on my toes and tell me what I'm doing is psychotic. And don't compare it to codependency. Do not compare it to Stockholm syndrome. Don't compare it to these outlandish terms, because you're flat out, you're wrong. You're wrong, and you're insulting people that actually have been or are in situations like that. We all know people that have been in relationships that it was pretty dicey. It was, that's real. That's real codependency. That's real mental strain, mental warfare. They're damaging people. That's real. So for you to say, because me and my wife are happy and we don't want to hang out with you, that, oh, you're basically treating her terribly, you're abusive. It's like, no, dude. No, I should hit you for saying that. That's insane. You're way out of line. And, I just think for anyone who's in a similar situation or working that way or hopes to be that way, like similar to where we're
or
at.
like hopes to have a relationship where like
Yeah.
you like maybe because the way that I felt is I felt so lost and lonely no matter how many friends I had. And then when I met you, it really did change. It gave me the confidence to like
Yeah.
start working on myself, and it really changed my life for the
And that
better.
worked both
And
ways.
now it's frowned upon to want a partnership like that. It's like, don't get your happiness from your boyfriend. It's like, I didn't get my happiness from you, but I finally found a partnership that gave me the lift and the confidence boost.
Yeah,
And
it was a selfless
support.
aspect of like
and it was mutual for both of us. It
it
wasn't
was.
one-sided.
Yeah, but that's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be a team. We both have drastically different perspectives on life because of the different experiences we've had, the different places we grew up, the different people we've known, the things we've seen, the things we maybe haven't seen, and like you're supposed to be a team, and you bring that together. And it's like, yeah, maybe we're both in a kind of a low spot right now, but I care about you, and I can see, having met you and talked to you for 30 minutes, you're a great person, and I can see you have potential. And that's enough to, they're like, dude, a stranger told me that. That's crazy. And like it worked both ways. And it's like, how is there anything wrong with that? I don't understand. Like anyone who thinks that leads to something negative is, I mean, unless it's a serial killer telling you that, I don't see how that could be a
Or
bad
like
thing.
a cult that tells you like your parents. You can't.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't speak to your parents anymore. You got to
Yeah.
cut them off. Okay, that's insane.
I
But
just think like people need to be careful now with all these terms because there are psychologists and experts and people all over writing books, going on
yeah,
podcasts, and they're basically saying normal attributes that everyone can relate to.
yeah.
And it's making you feel like you need to identify
Has your
with.
eye ever twitched? You might have Down syndrome. It's like, dude, what? No.
Well, it's like they're basically
Yeah.
saying all these common attributes so they can speak to a mass group of people and everyone
Yeah.
will resonate. And then
Yeah.
it's like, I have this thing that's part of my identity. And then
Go
you're
scroll
bought
on social media for 5 minutes. There's like ads on there. They're like top 5 signs or symptoms that you have some like whatever, like what's it called? I was making fun of you for double dosing. About the, like, if you're watching something and scrolling at the same time, like
What,
with
like
your dopamine. Yeah,
dopamine?
you have dopamine deficiency. Here's the 5 signs, and it's like stuff that everybody's like, do you wake up and you feel tired and slightly exhausted? Yes. Are you hungry but you don't know what to eat? Yes. Do you sometimes have to take a piss but don't know if you want to run to the bathroom or walk? Yes. Do you sometimes not want water but you're kind of like, just hit you with the most bland shit. And there's like, okay, yeah, no, you have it. You need to take this pill for it. You need to do this. You need to do that.
buy my book. Or
Yeah, you need to buy my book. Listen to me talk. Here's my TED Talk, dude. And it's like, I don't know. I discredit all those people, just like all those idiots that are so-called experts that are on these documentaries. What is a woman? And they're just sitting there. Does a chicken have gender identity? Does a chicken cry? Shut up, dude. These people don't know what they're talking about. Their answer to everything is whatever's going to line their pockets. So any of these people, they're like, well, I read this book by so-and-so that said that it is really bad to be in a relationship with someone that does resemble codependency. It's like, do me a favor, before you start going too crazy down the rabbit hole, look up their net worth. Where do they make their money from? Oh, it's from writing books because they've written 15 other books that are about similar topics. You're getting played. It's a cash grab. That's all it is. So that's another thing, is just be careful who you're taking your information in from, because that can skew you into thinking like, this lady that's been married for 35 years said that I might be in a codependent relationship, and I'm worried that maybe that is true. And it's like, no, that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
Maybe it is, but I mean,
But it's up to you to decide. And like,
you have to. It comes down to you. It comes down to your own personal discretion, what you want out of life.
and also I would recommend, like, the thing I'm trying to do now after unpacking all of this, and this all happened like 3.5 years ago, 3 years ago. So like this has been something for a while, but I'm now finally at a place where I feel like, okay, what can I take away from that now? And it's just that with all my friends moving forward, that I can't make them be the person that I want to be. Like if they're making choices that I think are horrible, I
Yeah.
can say that, but I also don't need to make them feel bad if they're still going to go ahead and keep making those choices anyways. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, let me ask you more questions. Like, are you genuinely happy? Tell me how you feel. Tell me, like, and if they actually say that they're so happy, then leave it at that and be supportive of
that's
them.
fine.
Like, you don't need to, like, save them. Like, let people just make
No.
their own choices. And if they make a mistake, then they will, and that's okay. Like,
Yeah.
the world is not over.
And we've tried many times the people that we used to be friends with to like they express that they want to hang out and they want to, reignite a friendship or whatever. And it's like, yeah, sure, let's, this is where we're at in life, maybe come join us for this or we can meet
Yeah.
you and we can
Now
do
it's
something
like,
that
come over for dinner instead of like, we're not gonna drive
I'm
to your
not driving
house.
an hour and a half and
And
get hammered and then try to drive home.
yeah, we're not. It's just like,
Like,
no, it's like you
no.
want to like schedule something in advance and we can cook dinner for each other and like do
Yes.
something. And it's like 99% of the time they say no.
It just falls through or they say no.
It's just like they don't want
But
to.
the people that we still do socialize with, the very few, it's like at the drop of a hat. It's the second like, yeah, dude, let's hang out. That'd be awesome. You guys, oh, we want to go do this weekend. Oh yeah, we'll cook you guys dinner next time. Let's do that. And the people that you genuinely want to be around and they're positive influences and leave you with a positive feeling when they drive home or when you drive home, like those are the kind of people you want to be around. It's I don't know, it's kind of a no-brainer at this point, but looking back, I can understand like how difficult it was in that time where it's like you are almost brainwashed into thinking that maybe this person is like, are they influencing me badly? And like you snap out of it, you're like, no, of course it was the guy that's been influencing me poorly that it would tell me that. Of course it's that guy. So I just the only thing I would leave people with is just if you are in a spot like this, you want to be in a spot like this, or whatever it is, somewhere in between. At the end of the day, what makes you feel best? That's what you should be doing.
This makes me feel best and always has.
Oh,
So-
Captain, it's debatable with him.
Cheers to, I think, small circle. Happiest life.
Circle.
Yeah.